In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to make these adorable Valentine's Day gnome candy holders. You can find all of these templates linked below. You can download them instantly to start using them with your cutting machine. So the supplies you're going to need for this project is 65-pound medium weight cardstock. You'll need a cutting mat. You'll need some liquid craft glue. You can use some 3D foam strip tape, which is optional. You'll also need a plastic dome half ornament for the candy holder aspect. There are links for that below. And then you'll want some pre-wrapped candy. You're going to go ahead and get all of your layers cut out. So I'm using my brayer tool here just to press my material to my mat, and I have my medium weight cardstock loaded up here, and I'm going to cut each layer out in the corresponding color. Of course, feel free to alter the colors to your preference. One of my favorite online resources for cardstock is the 12x12 cardstock shop. You can check them out below. Once you've cut out all of your layers, you're going to go ahead and focus first on getting the mechanics of this assembled. So I want you to take the little cross piece that has the hole in it, and you're going to bend all 4 of those sides upward. We're going to take 2 of the 4 sides and place a little bit of glue on them, only 2 of the 4 sides. So I'm going to be using the craft glue here, and this is Barely Art craft glue, which is my personal preference. So I'm adding it on 2 opposing sides. And then you're going to take the little hole that's in the middle there, and the hole's purpose is basically just to help you align it with where it should go. So there's a hole you'll also notice in the gnome pieces. With the 2 remaining pieces that are not glued, you're going to feed those through the hole of the spinning dial, and you want to just sort of gently pull them through so that they are sticking out at the top. You're going to lay them flat so that they're pressing down, as you see here, and we're going to be adding some glue to the top of them. And the top part that we add the glue to on those 2 pieces that came through is going to connect to the last layer of the gnome for the base of this mechanics of our candy holder here. It's going to look just like this. Just be mindful that you don't get glue just like seeping out in other areas, or it may not allow the dial to spin the way you want it to. I'm also going to be adding glue along the top here for the hat and making sure that that is secure and aligned. After you've given your glue a moment to set, go ahead and practice spinning that dial just to make sure that it is moving freely. You might need to give it a little bit of a tug gently at first to get it moving, and you'll see how it rotates easily. Basically, we've made a paper version of a brad that is allowing us to spin that around. The next part is super fun and easy. You're just going to go ahead and layer the rest of these paper cutouts together. So I like to use a 3D foam strip tape by the Barely Art brand. You do not have to use this. You can absolutely just use plain glue. I like to add a little elevation to a few of the layers. I just pick some of the topmost layers like the hat and the shirt here that I'll add a little elevation to, and it just creates a bit of a 3D effect to the entire layered design, but it is completely optional. You do not have to do this part. I've done it with just glue as well, and it works just fine. I'm going to go ahead and do the hat and the hair here. So for this top hat piece, I like to use the glue, and then I'll also attach it to the base of the hair, which is my pink cutout. And then I'll add this entire piece on with some of that 3D foam strip tape just to add that extra bit of elevation. I don't recommend using the 3D foam strip tape on all the layers because it will make it look a little funky. So you definitely want to kind of blend the concept of the 3D foam strip tape and the glue together for best results. And finally, go ahead and just add on those additional details. So the little shoes and the accessories and the facial pieces, you can go ahead and add all those on with glue. For her little nose in this case, you can add that 3D tape to it to add some extra elevation. Ultimately, that's your call. Okay, so now I'm going to place my dome on top, and you can absolutely do this without the candy inside, so ignore me doing that in the video here. And you basically want to gauge that everything is lining up where it's supposed to, and then you want to lift the topmost layer off, and you just want to basically trace with a pencil or a pen sort of the circle spot around it, because we want to add a little bit of glue. So if you've watched any of my other candy holder designs, you know that I prefer to do the perforation back. So I do have some other designs like that that's different, but with this particular design, I find it easier to trace the plastic dome on top and then cover it in glue and then just flip that on top. You can also avoid the flipping part with the candy in it if you want to just add the candy in afterwards to the back. I'm just used to doing it this way because my other candy holders have a perforated back. This one here, I'm going to go ahead and just make sure everything is aligned properly, and then I'm going to add a bit of glue along the top of my gnome and then around that circle open area as well, and we'll press the whole thing together so that we make sure everything is nice and snug and it's right where it should be. That glue is really helpful in this case because you have a grace period of about a minute or so before it starts to grab on that paper. So if you need to shift things around a little bit, you can, and you have that option before it sets up. And I'm adding the very last few details here with her nose, her heart, and her little mouth. Now, if you would like to opt to add a message to the little heart she holds in her hands, you can absolutely have your Cricut do this by simply typing out a name or a message and then use your attach tool in Design Space to hold the placement of that writing font to the heart. So if you're not familiar with using writing fonts, I do have a post on that I'll link below for you. And here you can see that we're able to spin open the back of our cute candy gnome here and grab our candy from the inside and then close it back up if we wish. What do you think of this fun design? Now, I have several other gnome designs. There are actually 4, including 2 that stand. We also have some other designs like Easter, Christmas, and puppy dog candy holders, which have a fun perforation back opening. And you can find the templates for all these linked below in the video description. I hope to see you there, my friend. I'm Abby Kirsten, your friend in the pursuit of craftiness. I will see you next time. Bye for now.